Bears.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with NFL Hall of Fame columnist John McClain. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Hall of Fame columnist and writer John McClain. We're going to get into his newest toys of what allows people to read his greatness and also listen to him, which he's on numerous radio shows throughout the week, including this one, Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. John, before we get into all that, Guy Morris, any memories about him?
Guy was a really good player, played a long time in the NFL. You know, he was one of those guys. I wouldn't say he was unappreciated or undervalued. He was just a lunch pail kind of offensive lineman who came to work every day, played hard. He was a smart technician, and I think the intelligence he showed as a player paved the way for him to be a head coach, and at Baylor, of course, being one of the places where he was a coach. I knew Guy a little bit, respected the heck out of him. I remember when he hired Bill Bradley as his defensive coordinator. Bill was going to retire, and Guy called him and said, hey, why don't you come be my defensive coordinator? And Bradley, okay, called Darrell Royal. And he told Darrell Royal, he said, I got this offer from Baylor. You know, I always wanted to coach at Texas. And Royal told Bradley, well, I'm from Oklahoma. I always wanted to coach at Oklahoma. But I didn't turn down a chance to go to Austin, and I don't think you should turn this one down either. And so Bill went to work for Guy Morris. Guy had a lot of fans in the NFL and college football, and condolences to his family and friends.
John, it's here, the first week of the NFL season, and, I guess, we're kind of through – it's not as bad as college football this year off the field, and we had a lot of off-the-field stuff with the NFL, but is there a sense of relief for you when the season comes so we can actually see games that matter?
It's not relief, Paul. It's excitement. You know, there's 2 great times in the NFL, the start of regular season when everybody has high hopes, and then the start of the playoffs. And I covered teams with the Oilers that were Super Bowl contenders, but they didn't make it. I covered, that was in the Love You Blue era and the run and shoot era. And with the Texans, they haven't been Super Bowl contenders, but they won the division twice under Gary Kubiak, got to the second round of the playoffs, 4 times under Bill O'Brien, got to the second round of the playoffs, but they never got to a championship game. We haven't had a team reach the AFC championship game at Houston since the Oilers after the 79 season. And it ain't going to happen this season, I can tell you that. But people still are excited, not just about the NFL, but football in general. And if this weekend is anything like that first weekend of college football, the excitement is going to be through the roof.
John, what do you think of Bills and Rams that'll kick it off on Thursday night?
Well, I'm not thinking against the defending Super Bowl champions at home. I think since they've started doing this, they're 10-2, the home team. The last time we saw Buffalo, it was that great playoff game at Kansas City in which you didn't want it to end. And I think the Rams general manager, Les Snead, and the guy who runs the organization, Kevin Demoff, have done a tremendous job of re-signing players, signing their top guys to extensions, bringing in players like receiver Allen Robinson and linebacker Bobby Wagner. Maybe they will be the first team to repeat as champions since the Patriots after the 04 season. And the NFC is not that tough. Who do you have to get by? San Francisco in the division, Green Bay, which hadn't been to a Super Bowl since 2010, and Tampa Bay, which is really struggling with pass protection up front. And that's it. It's so much tougher in the AFC.
John, I saw a list the other day about the most powerful people in the NFL. Roger Goodell was at the top. He's the commissioner. I thought about Jerry, but again, he even suspended Zeke Elliott, who's Jerry's running back. Is there anyone close to Goodell, or is it Jerry?
I think Jerry Jones is the second most influential person in the NFL because he is a mover and shaker behind the scenes. You know, Stan Kroenke wouldn't have got his deal done in L.A. if it wasn't for Jerry Jones and all the maneuvering he did behind the scenes. He's one of the reasons he's in the Hall of Fame. It's not because he hadn't been to a Super Bowl in like 50 years. It's because of all the things he's done that he was considered an outlaw for a while. The NFL adopted those things he recommended, and now the franchises are worth multiple billions. Expected gambling supposed to bring in $100 billion over the next 5 years. Jerry Jones has had a lot to do with that.
John, speaking of Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, do you expect them to still win the NFC East without Tyron Smith and having to maybe piecemeal that offensive line together, or has Philadelphia done enough to maybe overtake them?
Tyron Smith has missed a lot of games the last 3 years, so they're used to playing without him. Dak Prescott's clearly the best quarterback in the division. Philadelphia's got the best running game. The Eagles added some talent, veteran talent, including receiver A.J. Brown. It's clearly a two-team race. Cowboys trying to be the first team to repeat since the Eagles in 2004. A lot of people are going with Philadelphia because of Smith and because of some of the other injury issues, but also because of Mike McCarthy, who's going to be looking over his shoulder this year. I'd be more inclined to pick the Cowboys to win it next year when Sean Payton may be the head coach. But I am sticking with the Cowboys just because they got the best quarterback, and that's the most important position, and the defense is good.
John, the Texans, Lovie Smith, Jalen Petrie kicking off the new era against the Colts, who are kicking off a new era in their own right. Matty Ice, Matt Ryan now behind center. Your thoughts on that matchup, AFC South action to kickstart the season? The
Colts are, won 2 of their last 12 openers. Frank Reich, who started in 18, has not won an opener. Don't know why they get off slow. It's like Cliff Kingsbury. Can't finish. Going back to Tech, now with the Cardinals. Some things you just scratch your head over and you don't understand. Colts coming off that terrible loss at Jacksonville last game of regular season. Knocked them out of the playoffs. Jim Irsay put Coach Frank Reich and General Manager Chris Ballard on notice. They need to start fast. They humiliated the Texans last year by a combined score of 63-3. And Lovie Smith said yesterday, we were dominated. We haven't forgotten that domination, but we'll see if they've gotten closer. If they don't get closer, and I don't see how Matt Ryan's going to play better than Carson Wentz did against the Texans. And if they get off to a bad start, getting humiliated, everybody here is going to be disappointed. They don't have to win, but they have to show they're better than last season.
There haven't been many back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Packers, Dolphins, Steelers twice, Niners, Cowboys, and then Denver and New England. And it's hard. It's hard to win it all, and it's surely hard to repeat. In the NFL, is it more difficult to repeat in that league than anywhere else because they truly are the way the schedule and the draft and everything else, the parity is just huge?
You see it in the NBA, but you don't see it in much in baseball, I don't think. I don't think there's been a repeat champion in the AL since the Yankees did it when they had the core 4 in there. Mm-hmm. I may be wrong, but it's hard to repeat anywhere. And the team that had the best chance was the Patriots with Belichick and Brady, and they haven't done it since after the 3-4 season. They won their first after the 0-1 season. So I think that's one of the things that makes it so good. Dynasties don't mean you got to win a bunch of Super Bowls in a row. You have to compete for them. New England, to me, considering Belichick has had to deal with the salary cap, he's had to deal with free agency. What he's been able to do, to me, makes them the best, most impressive dynasty in the history of the NFL.
You're right. Yankees in 98, 99, and 2000, which was the younger part of that run with Jeter and Bernie Williams and many, many others as well. Is there a team that just is under the radar that you think might be kind of fun?
They're not under the radar, but I'm picking the Chargers to win the Super Bowl over the Packers and Justin Herbert being the MVP. And they didn't even make the playoffs last year. I'm trying to be different from everybody else that's picking Buffalo or Green Bay, even though the Packers haven't been to the Super Bowl since 2010. And I think in the NFC right now, You look at the Rams and the Packers and the Buccaneers, and that's it. You look at the AFC, there's a lot of contenders. And so much depends on the quarterback. Can they keep the quarterbacks healthy? I think Baltimore's going to win the division. I think the Colts will win the division. I think the Chargers. And there was one other I picked. I can't remember who it was, because usually about 4 teams sneak in there. So I'm fascinated to watch how it plays out. That's one of the great things about the start of the season. There's been so many storylines throughout the off season, and now we're going to get to see all this come to fruition.
John, is there a team that was absolute hot garbage last year that you think may surprise some people?
Boy, garbage, Paul. My goodness, let's see. Garbage. No. Some people think Jacksonville. Give me a break. Some people are talking about Detroit because they've seen them on Hard Knocks. Give me a break. I think the 5 worst teams are going to be the Bears, the Jets, the Jaguars, the Texans, and the Lions.
Not the Commanders, Smokey. So there you go.
We're doing better. We're moving up in the world. John, you, of course, forever Hall of Fame columnist, NFL, all of that. What you've been honored, the long stretch at the Chronicle. You then retired just a few weeks. It seemed like it's been maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I can't remember exactly what, but you now are back working again. You were, but what are your new toys?
Well, I only retired from the Chronicle, and I've still been working my radio shows, 5 in Houston on Texans flagship, sportsradio610.com, and they announced me on Monday as their senior Texans columnist. I'd be writing 3 times a week, plus my 5 appearances, plus I've been doing 3 podcasts a week for them on the Texans, the NFL, and the Astros. But the one I'm really excited about, gallerysports.com. I'm their columnist. I've got 2 up on there. I've got 2 more coming, and it's Jim McInville, Mattress Mac. He owns it, our country's most renowned gambler and furniture salesman, and he approached me about this way back in May. And so it's Gallery Sports, and as he says in a lot of his commercials for Gallery Furniture, it's free. Everything I write right now is free. So all you got to do is go to gallerysports.com or sportsradio610.com, and I've got all kind of stuff there, and I'm pumped about it because I also can write about college football for the first time ever. I'm going to start off focus on the NFL and the Texans, and I'll do stuff on the Cowboys, and then I'll do stuff on the college football as well. And I'm excited about it, just so I'm going to take a nap on Saturday so I can stay up late and watch Baylor playing in Provo against Brigham Young.
John, that reminds me then to ask you, you were a part of the Chronicle, but you were also a part of 610 forever as well. The Chronicle was your main employer, right? So you couldn't write for the radio station because of that?
No, I could have, but I didn't want to because I was busy. I wrote 15 stories a week for the Chronicle every week, including 5 columns. And as it is now, people are like, oh, you're so busy. Well, actually, I'm only going to write 4 columns and 2 other things, and everything else is just yapping. And I love to yap about sports, as you guys know, and I appreciate you guys letting me promote Gallery Sports and sportsradio610.com. With a station, I knew they wanted to beef up their website. And so I said, how about I write a column for you once a week? And they said, okay. And that's become 3. And then these 3 podcasts, but I love doing it because I get to talk about Baylor everywhere. When Baylor beat University of Air Saturday by 59 points, I talked about it on all my shows, and I always do, tweet about it. And I love college football just like you guys do, and I love the NFL. If this weekend starting Thursday night is anything like college weekend, I may have a heart attack.
Yeah. Don't do that. And we love your writing. I think it's great. A lot of times people, because of your NFL Hall of Fame resume, they love the fact you can get into all the various sports. So we appreciate your time. Anything else for John? Paul?
Nope.
John, thank you. Congratulations. GallerySports.com. Hall of Famer. John McClain.
Wait. Take them Bears.
There you go. Needed that.
Thank you, guys.
They will not win in Provo without that. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.